Welcome to From Hoods to Backwoods Podcast, and our bonus segment, Quick Blast. Yes, From Hoods to Backwoods Podcast, Quick Blast. These are shorter videos that can cover just about anything. We're still hanging in there with the music talk, featuring our special guest and now officially part-time member of From Hoods to Backwoods Podcast, from Atomic Skull Podcast, Matt. The dudes here are dropping some knowledge about artists like Fleetwood Mac, Van Halen, and maybe some more artists that people under 40 haven't heard of. I may have to find a way to force them to talk about pop music that was released after the year 2020. That actually may be a way to shut them up or at least keep the conversation under an hour. Ready to hear some older dudes rant? It's time for Quick Blast number 5.
What's the best show you've seen at either a dive bar or a smaller venue? Just a place that isn't a arena or stadium.
It's tough because a lot of the shows that I've been to are radio shows, stadium shows, arena shows. So I don't really have much. The couple of little things that I saw in small clubs, this is going to sound awful, but I saw Blink-182 height of their popularity in 2001, right before Take Off Your Pants and Jacket came out. They did a show at the Warfield with Alkaline Trio, who were great. But Blink was selling out arenas everywhere at that point, and they did just this tiny show in the Warfield that I happened to score tickets to. That was amazing. You know what else I actually got to see is I fell ass backwards into tickets in 1998, seeing Metallica with the San Francisco Symphony.
Wow.
At the Berkeley Community Theater. Somehow I was able to score tickets. I honestly could not tell you how I got in there, but I did. I'm on the DVD. If you watch the DVD, watch their performance of Minus Human, I am on there for no seconds at all. But I am there. That was amazing because most of the time I've ever seen Metallica, I've seen them plenty. Most of the time I've been in stadiums, and Berkeley Community Theater held 2,200 people. And that's probably the closest that I have for that.
Oh, wow. No, I had that CD.
Did you really? The S&M CD?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah,
yeah.
Dude, it was,
I think I mentioned
awesome.
it before.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
Yeah. Such a good show. Very, very different. Seeing them with the full 106-piece orchestra, not something, they were the first metal band to do that. Metal bands after them were all trying to copy it, but, I hate to say it, they did it first, and they did it really well.
What's that? I'm sure I'm going to get this wrong. There was a band, it was like a metal classical thing. What's it, like Acoustica or something like that? Have you heard of them?
Apocalyptica?
That's what it was, yes.
They're great.
Yeah. That really impressed me. It can be done.
It can be done. Yeah, you got them. It's, metal's very dramatic. Symphonic music is very dramatic. And I think that's sort of how you can marry the two of them together. You find the most dramatic songs in the catalog, throw some strings on it, and it's just going to accentuate what's there.
Yeah, that's like the beginning of Symphony of Destruction.
That's right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
I wish. Yeah, what's your little small your little small venue show? I'm sure you've seen something awesome. I don't even want to hear.
There was a place, I can't remember. I'm sure it's not around anymore. I know it moved at least once, if not twice, but it was called Boston's in Arizona.
Okay.
And I was going to see some bands that I wanted to see for a while. Nobody's was one, The Queers, and before anybody's like, what is that? It's a punk band.
They're a punk band. They're a good punk band.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time.
Yep.
So the main thing though that really surprised me that night was a Canadian punk band that I'd never seen before called Chicks Dig It.
Nice.
And it's spelled CHIXDIGGIT. For anybody who wants to check them out. They I had no idea who they were at all, and they were the opening band. So fortunately, we got there on time, so we were able to see their full set. And yeah, they just really made an impression on me. I just liked the songs. They were really, really funny in between the songs too, when they were talking on the microphone. So
yeah,
all the stuff I like about a show, and especially a punk show, good energy and good jokes.
Yep, that's right.
So yeah, they, to me, won the night. I mean, the other bands were great through the show, of course. But yeah, that was just a really great surprise, and I stuck with that band after that from the seeing that show.
Small little place. I like that.
Yeah, really small. I'm sure I try to be very, very careful being a recording engineer with my hearing, and I got my earplugs / sound filters in my ears a little bit too late that night.
Oh.
So anyway, I think probably something permanent in my left ear from that show.
Well worth it.
Yes. But let's see. Next one up. So what band or artists did you not really like when you first heard them, but they grew on you and you either like them now or appreciate them at least?
Yeah. So I don't want my beautiful wife, Mrs. What's her name, to hear this, because she loves bragging about it, because she knows her music really well. But when she met me, she said, "You are annoyingly, you are annoyingly inept with the music." Adept. I don't know. Tex made me take a lot of shots of bourbon, so I'm not sure which one. But the point is,
not erect with music.
I mean, it really depends on the song. But I knew a lot about music, and when I met her favorite band was Fleetwood Mac. And I love classic rock. I got a special place in my heart for it. Grew up with it. But I never really got into Fleetwood Mac. And her kind of having it on a lot and mixing it with her style, and me seeing how it influenced her and how it made her feel. I got to see the band again through her eyes. Ears. Maybe ears is more appropriate. And I revisited them and found out how rich the band history is. I had no idea about Peter Green for the longest time. And Fleetwood Mac, before Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham joined, they were fronted by Peter Green, who is this incredible blues guy from England. And I had no idea. I had no clue. Went back, started listening, had a brand new respect for them, and now love them so much. I got to see Stevie Nicks in concert last year, and for someone who's in her early 150s, she rocks, man. Like, she did an amazingly good job. So when I think of the bands I wasn't into when I was younger, and I have a brand new respect for, I think Fleetwood Mac probably tops the list, because I definitely slept on them way too much when I was young, and I should have been paying more attention.
Yeah, Stevie Nicks, an Arizona resident, if you didn't know.
That's right. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
She is from Sedona.
Yeah.
From Sedona. Yep.
Yeah, so definitely appreciate that. And I wanted to be clear for some people, Peter Green, not Tom Green.
Did I say Tom Green?
No, you didn't.
Okay, thank God. I thought you said that. I'm like, please tell me I didn't say Tom Green.
No, you did not.
Mix up the Bum Bum song with oh well. Oh, I got so scared. Okay, cool. Thank you. Sorry,
no,
D.
You're good.
Sorry, D. All right.
Sorry for throwing you off there.
Are you kidding me? That was great. That was really funny. I thought I made a cardinal mistake, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna leave. I love Tom Green, but not for the same reasons that I like Fleetwood Mac.
Right. Yeah, that would be an interesting mashup if you did the Bum Bum song with one of their songs. somebody with more time on their hands than me, go ahead and have
Yeah,
at
anybody but us, please.
it. So,
Yeah, what do
all
you got?
right.
What about yours? What's the one you missed out on and then you caught up later?
I'll start off with an honorable mention before I get
Uh-huh.
into my real answer. I have
Yeah.
to do this just for my dad.
Okay.
Riding with him, especially on trips, he would make his cassette compilations of different artists or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that really annoyed me, and I could not stand the vocals on it, and that was John Fogerty singing.
Okay.
The lead singer of CCR, or also Clearwater Revival.
Creedence.
Sorry.
Credence.
Yeah. Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Credence Tom Green Revival.
Right. And I haven't had anything to drink, but hey. the name, no wonder they go by CCR. I'll just put it that way. So we'll leave it at that.
Facts.
But yeah, that's for my dad. He tortured me with that as a child.
Yeah.
And rather than call CPS, I dealt with it. And later on, I appreciated the songwriting and everything, and I got used to the vocals. Still not the biggest fan, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
great songs though. Great lyrics.
And agreed. Same thing. I wasn't much of a fan of theirs when I was a kid, and then when I got older, like I don't love them, but I like them as a friend. And I can appreciate the musicianship a lot because there's a ton of it there between them all.
Yeah, same here. It's I like them and appreciate them now. So yeah, that was my honorable mention. My real answer is Van Halen.
Oh hell yeah!
It was partially because growing up, I didn't really listen to a lot of Van Halen. It just was really on my dad's radar, and he had a big influence because he's the one that was buying the albums and everything. So, I didn't really listen to too much. I did as a teenager because I had friends that were into Van Halen. They kept trying to introduce me. I was like, yeah, that's some guitar wanking there. So that's how I kind of thought of it then, because I think they honestly probably were trying a little bit too hard to push me towards it, to where you get to the point you're like, yeah, okay, stop,
leave me alone. Right, exactly.
So I think that was part of the reason why, and they were all heavily influenced, so it influenced their guitar playing, and they were doing all the finger tapping and all the other stuff that Eddie Van Halen was known for. And at that time, again, I kind of just dismissed it as a gimmicky thing. Okay, you go do that. So later on, as I learned more about what he did for guitar and how innovative he was, and I was fortunate to work with a company that designed his amplifiers. I don't want to get too much into it, and his guitars.
Cool. Yeah.
So when I got to work with that stuff firsthand and see what went into it, see the designs up front of the instruments, that made me even more so appreciate the playing and what went into all the other stuff.
Yeah.
So, absolutely one of the greatest guitarists of all time.
Yep.
Easily, but not just for the playing, but the innovation, the different techniques, the different things that because he absolutely butchered his guitar and had no idea what he was doing, but he knew what he wanted to do.
Right, and learned along the way.
Exactly. So, a lot of respect for that. And that's all stuff I really didn't know before, because Van Halen wasn't presented to me in that way.
Right.
It was like, this is cool, listen to the solo.
Yeah. This is going to sound crazy, so please bear with me, but I'm going to compare Van Halen to Seinfeld, the show Seinfeld. One of the things people don't understand, but with both of them, is the guitar tapping and all of those tropes for comedy shows are all so overdone, but they don't realize that when Van Halen did it, when Eddie did it, no one else was doing it. In Seinfeld, there was so many things that nobody else was doing, the bottle episodes and, you know, having all the stories intertwine with each other. And that, you know, a lot of people don't realize that for as tired of a thing as it was, you know, Eddie Van Halen was so innovative because he was doing things that nobody else was doing. Nobody was even close. It was like Hendrix. Nobody was even in the same arena as Eddie. And for the rest of the band, you know, Michael Anthony as a bass player had this huge backbeat because he had to, because Eddie was doing so much soloing, Michael Anthony had to make his bass kind of have that same energy as a guitar, like as a backup guitar, because they didn't have a rhythm section that way. So Michael Anthony had this big, huge booming bass, and Alex Van Halen is an incredible drummer. And, you know, same thing with Hendrix. There was this backup band behind Eddie that doesn't get the credit that they deserve, but man, that whole ensemble was great. Sammy or Dave?
And it's funny because I look at it in two different
Sammy
ways.
Or Dave.
See, because
Sammy
Dave for entertainment.
Dave. Sammy or Dave.
You're talking about in their prime, right? In their prime?
Sammy or Dave.
Yeah, I'd have to go with Dave because entertainment value.
Yeah.
He was just fun to watch. He would do crazy stuff, acrobatic.
Well, you know, you talk about, here's the difference, because I like Sammy's stuff in Van Halen. I love Sammy's stuff in Van Halen.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was getting at. The music-wise, yeah, it's different.
Sammy's a singer. Dave is a front man. And there's a huge difference between the two. And I like, in rock and roll, a singer is just one small fraction of what you're doing. You know what I mean? If Freddie Mercury was facing the other way and he never looked at the audience like early Jim Morrison stuff, no one would know who Freddie Mercury was. It wouldn't matter how good his voice was. But once you get that stage presence, you know, like Dave had, once you get that stage presence, plus the vocals, plus the charisma, Dave is one of the best ones. David Lee Roth, for anybody who is not in the know, first singer for Van Halen, no one was as good as David Lee Roth back at the time. Like, he just did it. He did it like no one else.
Diamond Dave.
That's right. Diamond Dave. Yep. I could listen to that dude talk. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the video of him explaining the whole brown M&Ms thing. Like that black and white video of him in the overalls, and he explained why they always ask for brown M&Ms in their tour rider, and just the way that he presented it. I'm like, man, that actually makes a lot of sense.
yeah. There's some famous things about them. I mean, especially now, I think it's probably a little bit difficult for people to understand or appreciate how huge they were.
I know it.
Yeah. Talk about, you know, one of the most famous bands that's out there that just kept putting out hit after hit for years too. It wasn't like they had one great album and that was it. No.
Yep.
they were around.
Yep. I think that their cover of You Really Got Me by the Kinks is one of the greatest cover songs ever done. It just it stays true to the original, but sounds like Van Halen, and that's so hard to do both.
And even on that too, Pretty Woman, the Roy Orbison cover,
sounds good too. Love it.
Yeah,
it's hard to not love it.
Yeah, and that's one of those few ones for me where I like both versions.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, I can get into the Van Halen version as much as I can the Roy Orbison version.
Yep, definitely.
So yeah, that's that one for me.
Right on.
This concludes Quick Blast number 5. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for additional disappointment. So, that was two older guys, talking about even older music. Maybe next time they will give us some great smoothie recipes featuring prune juice. Seeing that this was an extended and not so quick blast, I am going to allow you to go. But, before I do, we do appreciate it when you let us know your thoughts on what we discussed. Our social media information will follow shortly. Until the next time that you decide you have nothing better to do with your time, thank you for watching, and don't forget to keep it real out there, in the real world.
We appreciate you taking the time to connect with us through social media. Generally speaking, we can be found through search using either hashtag FHTB or hashtag FHTB Podcast. On Facebook, you can find us under From Hoods to Backwoods Podcast. On Instagram, you can use the QR code on your screen now, or if you're listening, please search for at FHTB Podcast. If you prefer TikTok, you can find us by using the QR code on the screen now or by searching for at FHTB Podcast. We do share bonus content on all platforms. Full episodes with video are available on YouTube. The video version of our podcast has bonus content. An audio-only version is available on all major podcast platforms. If you like what we do, please share it with others. We really do appreciate your support of our insanity.